Anthony Jackson was not just a bass player. He was a visionary whose artistry reshaped the very architecture of modern music. Born on June 23, 1952, in New York City, Jackson grew up in an era where the bass guitar was still trying to define its identity. But from a young age, he seemed to sense that his destiny was to give the instrument a new voice, one that transcended its traditional boundaries. He was a thinker and an innovator, a musician whose mind worked like that of an engineer and a poet combined. To those who knew him or followed his work, he was simply in a league of his own. Anthony Jackson's journey began with a deep respect for both the structure and emotion of music. He studied harmony, theory, and the technical aspects of sound design with almost scientific precision. His fascination with detail led him to constantly seek improvement, not just in his playing, but in the very tools of his craft. This pursuit of perfection eventually gave birth to one of his greatest contributions to the world of music, the six-string contrabass guitar. This instrument, developed from his conceptual design, expanded the traditional range of the electric bass and became an essential evolution in the instrument's history. To this day, countless bassists owe their sound, their freedom, and their possibilities to Jackson's bold imagination. Yet Jackson's brilliance went far beyond invention. His playing had a voice that could only be described as soulful precision, a combination of mathematical control and human emotion. He wasn't content to simply follow a groove. He built the groove. He sculpted it. Every note he played seemed to have a reason, a purpose, a logic that tied the music together. His bass lines were never just rhythm. They were architecture. They gave songs their structure, their depth, and their breath. One of the defining moments of Jackson's career came when he recorded the unforgettable bass line for the O'Jays, "For the Love of Money." That opening riff, dripping with groove and attitude, instantly became one of the most iconic bass lines ever recorded. Its sound was futuristic yet timeless, a reflection of who Jackson was as a musician. He wasn't trying to create a hit. He was trying to create truth through sound. And in doing so, he helped define an era of soul and R&B music that still reverberates through popular culture. Throughout his career, Jackson worked with an astounding list of artists across genres: Steely Dan, Chaka Khan, Paul Simon, Donald Fagen, Aldi Meola, and many others. He was a master collaborator, known not only for his technical ability, but also for his deep musical insight. Musicians who played with him often said that Jackson had an almost telepathic understanding of the music around him. He could hear what a song needed before anyone else did. His command of tone, timing, and touch made him indispensable in the studio and mesmerizing on stage. What made Anthony Jackson truly extraordinary, however, was his mindset. He was famously private and often philosophical about music, speaking about it as though it were a sacred language. He believed in musical integrity above all else. To him, every note carried responsibility. Every sound had to mean something. That devotion made him one of the most respected, albeit mysterious, figures in the music world. He didn't chase fame or public attention. His satisfaction came from creation itself, from the endless pursuit of mastery. In the later years of his life, Jackson's performances became more selective, but his artistry never faded. His collaborations with pianist Hiromi Uehara brought his brilliance to new audiences, particularly through their breathtaking live performances. The chemistry between Hiromi's piano and Jackson's bass was something transcendent, an unspoken conversation between two musical minds that understood each other on a soul-deep level. Their music together proved that even after decades in the industry, Jackson remained as passionate, curious, and inspired as ever. Sadly, the world lost this musical giant on October 17, 2023. Anthony Jackson passed away at the age of 71 after battling a long illness. While details about his health were kept private, those close to him had known that he had been struggling for some time. His death marked the end of an era, the departure of one of music's most profound thinkers and craftsmen. It left a silence that could only be filled by the echoes of his own playing. When news of his passing broke, tributes poured in from every corner of the music world. Legendary bassists, producers, and fans all spoke about the way Jackson had changed their understanding of what music could be. Many referred to him as a mentor, even if they had never met him personally, because his influence reached them through his work. They learned from his precision, his tone, and his discipline. They studied his recordings like sacred texts. For those who knew him personally, he was remembered as a man of depth and intellect, a quiet force who spoke most clearly through his instrument. Anthony Jackson's legacy cannot be measured by fame or awards, but by the depth of his impact. His music continues to inspire players to think differently, to play with intention, and to never stop learning. Every bassist who picks up a six-string instrument is, in some way, continuing his legacy. Every musician who approaches their craft with humility and hunger for perfection is walking in his footsteps. He didn't just play the bass. He redefined it as a medium for storytelling, philosophy, and human connection. As time passes, Jackson's contributions will only grow more significant. His influence has seeped into every genre, from jazz and fusion to pop and soul, and his ideas about music continue to shape how players think about sound and structure. He left behind not just recordings, but a philosophy of excellence, reminding every artist that greatness lies in the details, in the discipline, and in the relentless search for truth through sound. Anthony Jackson may have left this world, but his voice, the deep, resonant hum of his contrabass, still speaks. It speaks in the grooves that make us move, in the harmonies that make us feel, and in the silence that reminds us how rare true genius is. He taught us that music isn't just something to be played. It's something to be lived, to be respected, to be understood. And through that truth, his legacy will never fade. Rest in peace, Anthony Jackson. Your strings may have stilled, but your sound remains eternal, vibrating forever in the heart of music itself.